the
I've
problem
not
is there,
started.
he will.
Right. So this is what generally the difference you can see from traditional to agile teams. Because as we know, like traditional teams will have a hierarchy where you have a project management team as separate, where will be a role of a business analyst, architects, even development team. All these people are available on the traditional teams. So everybody have their own roles and responsibilities. Even project manager takes care of project planning, execution, all that. Even business analyst takes care of business requirements. Even development team takes care of coding part on it. But when we see the difference from traditional to
Are
agile
you able to hear me,
teams,
Raj? Hello?
yes, we know that.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, okay.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. Right. Right. So when we are comparing this with agile teams, we see agile is completely an self-organizing team where people have to plan the work according to their goals, what is that they wants to achieve. At the same time, whatever the complexity and effort will be taken, everything has to be done by them itself. That's what generally a self-organizing is. So the major difference in a line of answer to understand in reference to the traditional to agile is traditional is not a self-organizing kind of. There is a hierarchical process where someone is assigned a task to us, wherein we have to complete that accordingly. So there won't be any active involvement by the development team in regular intervals in the project. But when we are comparing this with Agile itself is concerned, Agile completely a self-organizing team. At the same time, there is an advantage in Agile is that whichever the team we are focusing on, the team size will be very limited. So you can see the team size is not more than somewhere around 8 to 10 people. So when there are less people, there is a possibility of self-organizing the activities or the works, what is that they need to perform. At the same time, it has more effectiveness, but end of the day, adopting the mindset of agile is essentially important among the team members. That is what one has to understand. So to coordinate that, there is a role called servant leader or a facilitator, whom we call it as scrum master. Scrum master is the person who facilitate the team, the kind of progress of the work, what they are doing, right? So what are the different impediments they face? Everything will be taken care of by the scrum master. That's what usually scrum masters do. Of course, there are some product owner even. So product owner who have a overall understanding over the goal and vision, what is that they wants to achieve. So servant leader or a scrum master is more or less like a facilitator. Whatever the impediments team follows in reference to the scrum, maybe there are possibilities. Sometimes they may not understand the right goal and vision of the product. Sometimes they may have some technical difficulties to develop due to um, unskill, right? So in few things, all that, or else what are the deviations taken place, especially in the development of sprint. So, of course, a deviation in reference to the goal of the sprint, to an extent, deviation usually happens because whatever the sprint we start, usually every sprint will have a goal. But to reach that goal, usually there are things which we have to be focused. We have to we have to create a sprint goal. But there are some deviations in between, might be taken place usually by upon the request of the product owner, wherein we have to, but there is some limitation we have to make sure. But if this is being persisted, right? So if this is persisting for each and every sprint, if it is happening so, this is where generally you have to understand from the point of agile coaching. Being an agile coach, we have to understand this because this is where we majorly works with. Being an agile coach, we create a requirements, governance, standard, and procedure. We have to follow, and we create because little bit of deviation to an extent possible is always allowed. Especially, usually, fundamentally, we don't allow first point. But there are, in reality, there are some situations we come across where we have to do some changes into the existing ones, but it should not be affected on the scope. But there are possibilities sometimes if it is continuing in each and every sprint. Once in a while, If this deviation is happened, it is something can be taken as granted and we can accept it. But there will be some situations we come across in real environment, which become a regular practice uh, of deviating the sprint goal in each and every sprint, right? If that was the case, generally automatically it impacts on the goal in long run by the team. So there are possibilities that they may not be achieving the right goal of the release what they are planning. So this is where generally agile coach people will be there, because scrum masters, after scrum masters, some people out of their interest they can become even agile coaches also. So agile coach majorly focuses, apart from coaching the scrum teams, scrum masters, all that. Agile coaches majorly create a requirement governance process, because requirement governance standard has to be defined. So if you don't structure the government process standard and all everything for the requirements and all that, so multiple requirements will come into picture where it deviates the scope. Right? That should not be the case. This is where generally agile coach role come into picture. Right. So this is what generally an overall understanding about the traditional followed by agile teams. And now these are the four different areas. This we have discussed even. And of course, as I told you, this is the refreshment session which I'm doing before I'm getting into the scenario list. The one is about sprint planning, as you know, like sprint planning will be taken care of by the product owner will initiate and the rest of the people will be involving in it. At the same time, based on the product backlog, what are the product backlog items we have taken, from that generally sprint planning will be initiated. So from sprint planning and on, daily stand-up meeting will be conducted once sprint planning is done. Usually this sprint planning duration will be on weeks. Sometimes it is 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks and 4 weeks on, right? That's how usually it will be on weeks, right? But make sure if you are following scrum practices and all, it will be on weeks. When you follow Kanban practices and all, it will not be in the weeks. That I already shown in the previous session on Jira. I have shown that example. I hope you understood. Yes. The second is daily stand-up meeting, which is a regular scrum call, will be taken by the team in regular intervals every day in the morning time. That is the second one, which will be organized by the scrum master and development team will be attending. Product owner, usually I can say it is optional. Usually product owner never attend daily stand-up meetings in regular intervals, because product owner never get into the daily stand-up calls on usually. Optional. Third is review process, I can say. Review process, nothing but whatever the project we have sprint, the team has started. During the review process of, for example, if it is 2 weeks of sprint, when you say, every week there will be 1 hour which will be categorized, which will be allotted for a sprint review, so that we can see how best and potential shippable products can be developed so far and what else can be done. Right? This is where generally sprint review. Being a scrum master, we will be focusing more on the review of the process, where we will be knowing about the tracking the progress of work is what we do under sprint review. So one sprint review, the next is retrospection. We call it as team retrospection, where this retrospection majorly focusing on, right? So where this retrospection majorly focusing on what benefit as well as additional value can be created in the next sprint. So for that, generally team retrospection is used for. Means in the team retrospection, whatever the benefits we can do it for the next sprint, what is to be continued, and how best this can be done for the next sprint. All these things will be discussed in the retrospection. These are, we call it as scrum events and ceremonies is all good. The next thing is, these are the three different artifacts I can say in reference to the scrum. So one we call it as product backlog, second sprint backlog, and product increment. So product backlog, it's a repository where we are storing all the user stories, as I shown you as class sessions. Sprint backlog means whatever the sprint you are about to develop, or either it could be a week sprint or a 2 week sprint or so on, or 3 weeks or 4 weeks on. So that is all comes under sprint backlog. After that, product increment means there are some changes as well as increments of the existing product might be taken place to have a better quality output or a visibility. A product owner wants to add some new increments to the existing product. So which is a continuous process. This is what we call it as PI, right? Product increments and all everything, which will be done on the product backlog, where these product increments will be looking after by the product owner. So these are the three different Scrum artifacts which normally one should be knowing. Followed by this is what generally the vision of the product is, as this we have discussed even in the earlier sessions. So again, I'm repeating. So vision is the first thing is called product roadmap. This is what generally first thing we do. Based on the roadmap, release planning will be made. And whatever the release planning we have made, so we will go into the sprints, because from the product backlog, we'll start developing the sprints. And for that sprints, daily stand-up meetings will be conducted accordingly. This is what generally the product vision is. Which this will be organized initially to start with product owner, will takes care of this product roadmap and even initiating the product release plan on that. Even sprints, daily stand-up meetings will be looking after by the team, subsequently by the Scrum Master. Now, when you see the value of the product backlog items, what we have taken, these are the values we can see. If you see in detail and all, values can be categorized into 5 different parts. One is a commercial value. What commercial value this existing increment of the work, what is that we are doing is all comes under that. Next, efficiency value means this efficiency value increases the performance of the existing feature, what we have taken, or existing activity, what we have taken. That's what we call it as efficiency value. Third is market value, because market requires this. This is what generally we call it as market value stands for. Market needs it, market requires that. That's what generally we call it as market value. After market value, the next is customer value. Customer value means how customer is showing interest. Like for example, you are developing some e-commerce portals and all that. So whenever we are developing an e-commerce, something like Amazon, Flipkart, the major preference, I don't say it's only the preference, but the major preference we will be giving for customer value. Of course, to the market value, but majorly to the customer value. Because end of the day, customer is the one who is going to use it. So customer value will be provided. At the same time, future benefits. In order to understand and as well as sustain the future needs of the customer, future values will be taken accordingly. Right. So these are the different types of values which we have for any of the product backlog, all that. Now, when we're talking about release planning, this is what an example is what I am showing you on a screenshot. So one is about the release goal, what we have planned. In wherein we may have some first, second, third releases and all, where that releases will be classified into stories, whatever we have. And those stories can be estimated in terms of the story points. Make sure if you are converting user stories, then story points will be estimated. Subsequently, velocity planning will be done. So this is what generally the release planning example is. As in you can see what are the stories we have taken. We have to make estimation, nothing but story points. The next priority. Because this, whatever the screen you can see, this is where it happens in the product backlog. Because from this product backlog, we will be moving to the sprint planning. So these priorities and all everything we will make. We will make the priorities according to the requirement, what we have and all of it, right? So this is may not be the ID. For example, in the first ID we have taken is, if you can see here, as a member, I want to add new items to the shopping cart, right? This is what the ID. This is what generally the ID number which we have taken in the beginning of product backlog. But what must be the priority here? Whatever the ID number we have taken, which is called 6. As a general user, I want to register a new account, right? So this is what the priority we have to make first. Because unless until there is no registration of the account process is done, right? So rest of the things are not something of no value. So registration process and registration of new account will be the first priority, irrespective of the ID number what we have taken in the beginning. Okay, because in the product backlog, when we are writing user stories, when you have taken issues, we put all these in the product backlog. So prioritization and all everything will be made this way, right? So registration has to be done first. Next, sign in and sign out process. At the same time, administrator will be taken care of. There is an administrator. If there is any suspicious of registration and all, everything has been identified by the administrator. Administrator uh, has a responsibility, has a right to control that, or else uh, to cancel the account on that. After that, once the person has created an account and all, they have a possibility to add items to the shopping cart. After that, checking out, track the delivery address and all, right? So irrespective of the ID number, what is that we have seen in the first column? So that is entirely changed when it is talking about the product priority, right? So in the priority items. So priority items changes, that is nothing to do with estimation, because estimation may have high value, estimation may have a low value, right? You may be taken different story points we have taken, right? So it is nothing to do with estimation points what we have taken. But end of the day, priority is what matters a lot, right? So even if it is in high priority, high estimation value it has, assume that, for example, if it's a high priority, we have to address it for sure, which we don't have any other further choice for that, right? So this is where generally the release planning example is. Now, and this is what the release planning example, which is a continuation of it that we have done. Right, so this is obviously, yeah. So this is what generally release planning from the point of view of a product owner. That is what it is. Because product owner point of view, what is that release planning? What customer product owner see is what was mentioned here. Product owner has to focus on the goals, benefits, and results. At the same time, improving the release process continuously is what generally a point of view of a PO, product owner. Create at least one releasable increment per sprint is what one must be assured with. This is where PO has to make sure with the team. Right? So at least one releasable increment has to be completed in one sprint at least. So that those releasable increments in multiple sprints will be finally moved into the release part. Right? So that is what it is. Of course, don't release for the sake of release and make release a bit. That's a common point. And context of audience into account is also important. Audience may be the people who are using end users. At the same time, ownership will be taken by them. And whatever the release work we have taken is considered as them. Release early often and take dependencies and uncertainties into account, right? So this is how usually the release planning when you see from the product owner point of view, right? So this is all whatever I have explained you so far, all these things, something relating to release planning process from the product owner point of view. Now, this is how usually this product backlog Scrum processes looks like. You know that because everybody knows about this, right? So product backlog, from this product backlog increments, development team will be taken into sprints. From there, it will be moved into sprint backlog. From there, this development will be taken place. Once it is developed, potential releasable increment will be taken place. Once the review and SLA's retrospection taken place. This is what generally the overall understanding about Scrum process, what is that we follow. Now, this is where generally the agenda for a sprint review. When you want to make a review and all, these are the points we have to be focused, and how much time it will be taken is what I have given. So these are all, usually it will be on minutes. If you can all put together, it will be somewhere around that. You take in 1 hour time or more sometimes, depends on review process and all everything. It may be taken more than that even sometimes. Usually, this is where generally this sprint review will be taken care of. And usually in this review, major role will be played by the development team and Scrum Master, because those people will be involved more. Even product owner will also be attended, so that product owner will be knowing about the review process on it. So these are the overall understanding about Agile, release, Scrum, Scrum Master, all that. Is it clear to you? Vinod and Manjunath. Any questions on this regard?
Any tools what we are using in the retrospective nowadays? I can see that they're insisting in the interview question like what tools you are using, that, this, and that. Any idea?
Retrospection, you have it. We have a Confluence documentation which will be used, Manjunath. Because in Confluence we have a retrospection application. Retrospection was there. In the Confluence
Okay.
itself, you can see on Jira, whenever we connect
Okay.
the Confluence, apart from the decisions, what is that we have taken apart from the daily stand-up meetings, there will be an sprint retrospection sheet is available. So that sheet,
Okay.
Confluence, I can say Confluence, which will be used for document collaboration. So that's in that Confluence itself, you can see that the sprint retrospection related forms are available, so that we have to fill the
Yeah.
form. So based on the meeting, what we have conducted and whatever the conclusions we have made, that information will be updated. That's what we do.
Okay. One more
Any
thing, actually,
questions?
some people are just showing this daily scrum call and all. By using the Excel sheets, they will run. Like that
Sorry?
Excel sheet will show a lot of some Excel sheets they are going to run.
Because
They
see,
are exporting.
we are used to Excel for a very long time, because this is
Okay.
not the first time. Because usually in
Correct.
corporate world, usually we start our career and whatever the activities we do,
Excel.
everything
Yeah.
will be
Yeah.
done on Excel only. Even
Correct.
pivot
Correct.
tables sometimes, macros,
Correct.
excuse me, right?
That's why
Pivot tables, macros, all these
exporting
things we used to use.
Jiras and they're showing some dashboards.
Uh, yeah, because that's what, see, because people are used to Excel. This is where it was, because I don't say and I'm
Agreed.
not against to Excel, because this is how we
Agreed.
have started journey in the corporate world. Like Excel has a lot of, even till today, as you rightly said, even till today,
They're
most of the
growing. Yeah.
people,
Yeah.
more than 50-60% uses Excel,
Correct.
because for
Correct.
different purposes and different reasons, because even Excel have an advanced versions are available, right? So pivot tables, macros, all those are available.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Excel can be used even for basic data analysis itself of required Excel, right?
Agreed. Yeah. Yeah.
Basic data analysis from the since ages, if you see, basic data
Yeah.
analysis we used to do in Excel itself, right? So
Correct.
because
Correct.
there are a lot of calculations can be done in Excel, right? So we can do.
Agreed. Agreed.
Of course, nowadays, due to data analysis, there are a lot of programming or R
Tools actually.
programming, Python came.
Yeah.
But still, whenever, because if you, I think
It can
if you
compete
had an
easily.
idea, uh,
Yeah. 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 Agreed. So, do you have any those templates? I'm asking. Do you have any ready-made templates with you?
Excel,
Like, yeah, Excel templates,
Excel related,
Scrum,
yeah,
daily
Excel,
Scrum.
yes, Excel related templates I have. I'll give you. One is on
Sure. Then. Sure.
velocity for capacity planning. I have. I have
Oh, okay.
a
Okay.
capacity planning. I have an Excel sheet. I'll be showing you. Yeah, this is how it is.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Right. So this is for ideal capacity is what it was. This is how generally ideal
Mm.
capacity looks like. Right. So
Okay.
this is what generally the ideal capacity of the capacity planning. And of course, end of the day, this has been used using Excel. That's great.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Correct. Correct.
So even in the
Agreed.
first sprint, right? So what is the capacity planning we have made in the first sprint, second, third, fourth, and so on. Right. So of course, I have some Excel sheets with me, like of course, very few, because we usually this used for understanding purposes. All these things will be used by us.
Okay. Okay.
So if you want, I can share it this to you so that you can have a glance over this. Right. So in the
Okay.
different sprints
Yeah,
and
you can
all.
upload that drive itself. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, in the drive itself, I'll upload so that you can have a glance over this. It's a different sprints, different capacity plannings we do, because these are all whatever I'm showing you here is an advanced capacity planning where focus factors, final capacity awards, and all everything will be taken based on the weeks I'm talking about. Because in the first week you may have
Okay.
a few working days and few holidays, right? So usually, but what is that we have taken is 9 hours in a day is what we have taken here. But usually we don't take 9 hours. Average time will be for 7 hours time. That's what we take, because if you take 7 hours, then only you get the actual facts. Actual facts will be. Otherwise, what will happen? You have taken 9 hours, but productive hours are not 9 hours. Right? Productive hours are not 9 hours.
Yeah. Yeah. Correct.
But of course, my team has taken 9 hours long back. That's the old thing. This is an old one, not the recent one. This is the old one.
Okay.
So 9 hours we have taken, but 9 hours we don't take. We take 7, 7.5,
7 hours. Yeah.
6.5,
Yeah.
7, 7.5. That's how we'll be taken. So whenever, again, based on the number of hours we have taken, automatically these calculations will be completed. These calculations will change. Automatically it will change. Right? So because day to day, we have to mention it. Week to week, on that particular week, how many working days, all these things we have to calculate. Each and every person who is absent, right? Who is available here, right? How many hours that person can work. All these things you can do. I think there is some capacity planning which I think Vinod and you has done, right? So earlier we have done it. Am I right?
Yes,
Understood?
yes, Raj.
Right. So
Yeah.
that's how generally this capacity plannings and all everything will be taken place. So this is what the overall understanding about agile scrum master, all that. Now it's a Q&A
Raj,
kind of.
Raj, if you could send the format and all, it will be more helpful for us.
Yeah, why not? I'll be sending for you this Excel sheet. I'll be sharing to you. You can have
Excel
a glance
sheet.
on that.
Uh,
Yeah, because
yeah.
end of the day we are working on Excel sheet sometimes. We are doing it. We are
Yeah.
following an Excel now.
Some format
Because,
may be useful for, yeah.
Yeah, because Excel advantage, as Manjunath has said, even Excel has an advantage that it is easy to prepare. And easy means I don't say that it is so easy, but it's a regular practice which normally we do. People used to prepare it very fast. At the same time, even presentation purpose also, Excel has
Yeah.
that advantage. Because rather than explaining in a different format, if you can explain them on an Excel sheet, people, whoever listening, can understand this more effective. That's the reason why since ages,
Correct.
we are using these Excel sheets for a very long time. So that's how it is. Even still, even as Manju said, yes, even till now, I could see, because even in our world, I can see people were adjusted with Excel. People were expertise in Excel, because there were people I have seen. They are really good at Excel, because one of my friend, of course,
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
not from the Agile category. He is from the SAP category. He is master in Excel. He is master in Excel. Master, I can say. Right. So he do like
Agreed,
this.
agreed.
Simple. Even I tried, but I couldn't. I couldn't do it
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I'm not so expertise in Excel. But to an extent possible, whatever is related for me, I do it. That's
Required
it.
for us. Yeah.
That's it. I go only that. But he do advanced Excel, all the macros, everything.
Macros and everything.
Yeah.
I can say actually I worked in Tableau project and ClickSense projects and all. But problem is everybody believes Excel is stronger than anything. Even Tableau guy believes.
True. That is true.
ClickSense guy believes.
Rightly
they
said,
do
because
the
most of the
macros,
people believe that Excel is more stronger than anything else.
Stronger.
Yes.
And they have the feed actually in ClickSense also. They have a feed Excel macros as a one component. If you give Excel, it will generate macros.
Yes.
See how that data analytics team also, they align to the Excel. And they're bringing the concepts called pivot and all inside the Tableau. Like Excel, you do the pivot and it will come as a Tableau. I was surprised to see all those features in those projects actually.
Even till now, even I could see in my real world, end of the day, people go for calculations and all, for report generations, for calculations, all this, they go for Excel. They don't go for
Yeah.
I think the meeting is getting disconnected. Please join it. Okay. We're going to disconnect. Ranjana.
Sure.
Okay.
So this is please log off and log in. Okay, please.